The story of the Jackass TV show, movies, and their crew is one that is very much steeped in controversy from the beginning until now, because at first it was very much just a dumb show and then films about guys doing incredibly stupid and insane stunts to one another. It was born in the MTV era where they were trying to be more controversial in content, and this absolutely lived up to that desire. But now the controversies are that of the cast being sued for various things, both in the far past and recent past, with one of their own and Bam Margera helping out with that by suing his former friends. We'll break down the newest stuff with this, but before we do that, go ahead and do us a favor by leaving a like on the video, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. Do you want to win an iPhone 13 Pro Max? Maybe a MacBook Pro? How about $500 cash? You decide. All you have to do is comment the secret hidden message somewhere in this video. That's it. Oh, and leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep affording these giveaways. Winners will be announced on the last day of each month. Thanks for watching and good luck. And with that being said, let's get straight into the video, the prelude. Given that this case is viewed as frivolous in the minds of some and important in the minds of others, it's important we tell you all that led up to this, else it's not going to ring when the bombshells are dropped very soon. If you're not a longtime fan of the franchise, then you should know that Bam Margera has been with the Jackass crew since literally the beginning with the TV show. He was there for the 3 main movies and even did some spin-offs that were really popular. In fact, as his legal team has made known many a time, he helped not just influence the franchise over the years, many of the things that they've done on it, both the TV show and movies, were his ideas. Not that Paramount and others would like to admit that, but we'll get to that later on. Fast forward to recently, and the film Jackass Forever was decided upon to be made by Johnny Knoxville, surprising many of his co-stars in the process, as Steve-O can attest to. Circling back to our main character, if you will, Bam Margera was told to sign a wellness agreement to ensure that he was clean and able to perform for the 4th film, but while still filming everything, Bam was fired for a reason we'll get to, and as a result of that, he filed a lawsuit citing various things, including that he was forced out, that the wellness program was demanded of by those in charge, in this case Paramount, and that he should have been given justice for all that happened to him, citing that many illegal activities were done upon him in regards to the wellness agreement, and as such he should be paid for the suffering he had to endure. And look, we get it. Bam is a man with a troubled past, but he's never been afraid to admit that himself, and as many times in the lead up to the court case that is starting now and the various posts he's done about his conditions. But just because a man has gone through hard times before and is bitter about it doesn't mean he isn't wrong about what happened to him. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is where the big twist comes in, because we got legal documents provided to us by Bam Margera's legal team that potentially paint this whole situation in a different light, one that may just indicate that Bam wasn't just right, but that what was done to him was downright criminal. Medical expert Jed Wallace. Who is Jed Wallace? Well, as we find out in court filed documents, he's someone who was never brought in for any of the previous films or even the TV show, and as the files from Margera's lawsuit states, and as the files from Margera's lawyers state, he presented himself in a falsified way. The talent agreement Margera signed referred to a wellness program to be administered by a person unknown to Margera previously named Jed Wallace. Wallace is at best a public relations agent for treatment facilities, but not a qualified treatment counselor himself, yet he was the individual hired and paid by Paramount to administer the wellness program. Margera believed Wallace was retained for his sole benefit, was an expert in substance abuse rehabilitation, and had the experience and education to lead the team that was assisting in his recovery, but Wallace was unqualified to supervise or play any role at all in Margera's recovery. Wallace claims to have over 17 years of experience working in the substance abuse and behavioral health fields. What he fails to tell the court, and what Margera was certainly unaware of, is that his experience working with these entities is as a public relations consultant. Indeed, Wallace's LinkedIn page makes no mention of any education, training, experience, or certifications that he has as a treatment counselor. Instead, it identifies him as the owner of Street Relations Incorporated, which is a media, communications, and branding consulting firm specializing in corporate visibility. Incredibly, Wallace appears to have lied about his educational background in his declaration filed in his case, claiming to have graduated from Fordham University, although no such evidence can be found supporting this contention. Wallace contends he put together a team to assist Margera's wellness program, which included a psychiatric nurse practitioner with the ability to prescribe medications, whom Margera had worked with in the past, Anna DiPietro. Who was that? Well, they went into detail with that too. Wallace tries to push off onto Nurse DiPietro the selection of any medications Margera was required to take, but Margera at all times believed Paramount's employee Wallace required this, as it was he who forced Margera to ingest the drugs on daily FaceTime calls. The wellness program that Paramount put Wallace in charge of provided that if Margera did not, among other things, submit to daily SoberLink alcohol testing 3 times a day at random times, submit to weekly random drug panel testing, and take medication every morning while on a FaceTime call with Wallace and or his team members, Margera would face immediate termination from the Jackass franchise. As a result, Margera suffered from intense anxiety and stress in an effort to abide by the wellness program's impossible terms, as he believed the slightest deviation would subject him to immediate termination, effectively ending his ability to support himself and his family. This mental anguish took its toll on Margera, but he nonetheless persevered in abiding by defendant's stringent conditions, which were clearly not designed with his recovery in mind. So just to be clear about something here, Bam was put into a wellness program and forced to take drugs, something we'll touch on later, and as a result of that, he actually got worse mentally. Not the kind of thing you want to be hearing, wouldn't you say? Margera's best efforts, notwithstanding the prescription cocktail mandated by defendants, coupled with the acute mental distress directly caused by the wellness agreement, led Margera to a dark place. While he followed the wellness agreement and wellness program's dictates, he suffered from suicidal ideations, as was foreseeable. Now, we'll be the first to admit that we ourselves are not medical professionals, but we do have a thing called common sense, and if a prescribed medication is hurting someone instead of helping them, that's bad, really bad. What's more, if the person giving these medications isn't someone who actually has a medical license or doesn't have the experience needed to make the calls on what and how much of a drug they need to take, that's even worse. And that right there is the key difference. If all this can be proven in court, which obviously Bam is going to want to try and do, then that shows that not only did Paramount and others cut corners in regards to getting in key medical personnel, but they were the ones that sent Bam into a spiral that he's still recovering from now. But as is fair, shouldn't Jed Wallace speak about this? Funny enough, he did. How he responded. Since these were official legal documents provided to the court in order to make the accusations official, Jed Wallace was able to find out about it and made his own official response that was made to counteract and refute all that Bam Margera's legal team stated. Plaintiffs state that I lied about graduating from Fordham University. This is such an offensive and irresponsible accusation. I feel compelled to provide this response. I spent all but one semester at Fordham, where I was a member of Fordham's football team, the Rams. A fact plaintiffs could have discovered through a simple Google search, and was a member of the Pre-Med Honor Society. Due to a family emergency, I was obligated to return home for my last semester, and I obtained the remaining credits necessary for graduation from the University of Scranton, close to my home. My understanding was that those credits were automatically transferred to Fordham University, giving me the credits necessary to complete all graduation requirements. I declare under penalty of perjury, under the laws of the state of California, that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge, information, and belief. To be clear, the court docs provided referenced many sworn statements, including one by Jed Wallace, where they made it clear that these things were said and referenced, and yet, according to them, were lies brought to the court. So, who exactly is telling the truth here? It depends on how you view things and the details themselves. Remember, it wasn't just the graduation issue that Bam's legal team had a problem with. It was his creation of the wellness agreement and program that Bam had to follow strictly or else. And that brings us to why he was fired. As noted in the documents and other sources before things really took off, Bam was fired for having Adderall in his system. What's the problem with that? Well, Margera had previously been prescribed Adderall as required for his documented mental health issues, including bipolar disorder and attention deficit disorder. Further court documents provided to us showed that Bam had passed all the other drug tests as stated by Jed Wallace himself at times, so the fact that he was fired for having a drug in his system that he was prescribed by a real doctor is not only curious, it's possibly criminal. Does this all prove Bam right? One could argue that more than anything, Bam Margera is doing all of this not for the money that he might get, but for the peace of mind and proving that he did nothing wrong and that Paramount and his former co-stars totally screwed him over. So these new details that have been proved via the court documents could go a long way to make sure he's getting the vindication that he desires. Now, to be clear, just because these documents on both sides have been submitted to the court doesn't mean that they're being taken as gospel. Both sides are trying to win the case overall, and as we showed, Jed Wallace is heavily denying what is being thrown at him. However, should this pan out, Bam might just win, and a lot of things could be thrown at Paramount and all the parties involved in firing and mistreating Bam as a result. There are even outside legal experts who concur that there are some suspect things that might have gone on with that wellness program. But until a final verdict is rendered, all we can do is interpret the evidence we have and speculate what might happen next, which in this case might just be a closer legal battle than some expected. And there you go, everyone, to look at the situation with Bam Margera and how his legal team might just be pushing back in a big way against everything that was done to Bam during the filming of the fourth movie of Jackass. Does this in your mind prove that Bam was innocent this whole time and that this lawsuit means more than some of you are giving it credit for? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.